Mr. Hunt, do you have anything further?
Your Honor, the next witness that we intend to call is Mitchell Rocket.
If I get you to raise your left hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may be seated, and you're another witness is sworn in.
Thank you. Make sure you're speaking loudly, Mr. Rocket.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Evening.
Good evening.
And could you please say your name for the purposes of the record?
Mitchell Rocket.
And Mr. Rocket, or sorry, would you prefer Ranger, Officer?
It's a senior ranger, actually, but
Right.
you can just call me Mitchell Rocket.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rocket. Where is it you work?
San Andreas Park Rangers.
Okay. And were you involved in an arrest regarding William Benning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And a lot of it's already been talked over, and I don't want to kind of go over it all over again. I do want to touch on some points, but I'm not going to go over through the whole incident. Is there anything that was mentioned in Ranger Higgins' testimony that you personally witnessed that he wasn't a witness to?
We were both present at the same time, so I would say we saw the same things.
Okay. So could you explain, you don't have to go too far into it, but could you explain a little bit from your perspective what happened?
Myself and Ranger Higgins were in the area of Vespucci Beach, Del Perro Pier, normal active patrol. I was speaking with a couple of individuals in the area on the pier while Higgins was speaking to Mr. Benning. My conversation with the two individuals wrapped up. I was preparing to leave, but since I noticed that my partner was speaking to Mr. Benning, I figured I would check on him to make sure he was okay. I noticed that he had a motorcycle on the pier, which we tend to talk to people about that when they drive down in the non-vehicle area. My partner kind of stated that it's okay if I stick around, so I stuck around to what I observed to be a consensual conversation. It seemed like they were talking about laws and whatnot, or new laws to be implemented. At which point in time, ultimately, mentioning of Endeavor Jackson came up, and Mr. Benning stated that the sentiment that he did not like Endeavor Jackson, that he was dirty. And he, at that point, stated to us, between him and us, or, as he said, between me and you, I'm going to take him down. It was at that point when I was at the very least confused a bit and wasn't sure exactly how to take that statement. I wanted to assume, but I didn't want to assume. So therefore, both myself and Higgins asked Mr. Benning to clarify what he meant by that statement. And Mr. Benning goes on to clarify and state that he would like to stab him. Initially, he said in the face and body. At which point in time, we understood what his true intent was. It was at that point when I made the statement to Mr. Benning to turn around, face away from me, and was going to attempt to place him into custody. Mainly because as a law enforcement officer, I had an obligation to protect Endeavor, at the very least, from the threat that Mr. Benning had just stated that he wanted to do harm or great bodily harm or death.
Okay. And can you touch a little bit about on him resigning from being a state rep in the South?
Sure. I only heard it briefly when we were staying in the area, and initially they stated that he just resigned. There was other Rangers in his defense team, I believe. Ultimately, when I went to go sentence Mr. Benning, he asked me if I knew that he just quit, and I said I did overhear that you just quit and resigned.
Okay.
We had a brief conversation, and at that point, I sentenced him off and retransported over to Bolingbrook.
And sorry, just for the purpose for clarity, what was he charged with?
He was charged with uttering threats as well as evading.
And what was his plea to those charges?
He pleaded guilty to
Okay.
both charges.
Sorry, there's one thing that you said in your testimony that I just didn't understand. He said that Endeavor was dirty, and then directly after that said he was going to put Endeavor down?
Take him down is the term he initially used, yeah.
And then before that, he said Endeavor was dirty?
Correct.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you, sir.
Defense, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Rocket, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You don't, in your professional opinion, you don't know how Benning acts, correct?
Can you explain the question?
Like, you don't know how he acts. If he allegedly threatens someone, you don't know if he's going to follow through with that, correct? Like, you don't know how he's going to act.
No, I wouldn't know how he's going to act.
Okay. You don't know what Benning's mannerisms are, correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. For clarification, did you testify that Endeavor Jackson was present at the pier?
He was, to my knowledge, not present at the pier.
Oh. Okay. Was Endeavor Jackson present at the ranger station during the arrest of Mr. Benning?
To my knowledge, he was not present at the ranger station when we were processing Mr. Benning.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I didn't hear.
To my knowledge, Mr. Jackson was not present while we were processing Mr. Benning.
Okay. Was a member of the media present at the station?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
State reps.
No, Your Honor.
No further questions.
Okay. Prosecution, do you have to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, just one question. Sir, is it a crime to utter a threat?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, how you were coming up behind me? Did you want to ask a question?
Anything further?
Sure.
All right. Mr. Rocket, you can go ahead and step down. If we have any further questions for you, we'll call you back up. But please remember that you will be under oath still, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.